I do not say bleh bleh bleh. Well, here's a movie I didn't think I was going to talk about, but I've seen it, so let's talk about it. Hotel Transylvania 3, a series that I have not talked about on the show up to this point. I didn't see any of the films in the theater. I saw the first one. My daughter likes this franchise. This is why I saw the third one. So I saw the first one. The first 5 minutes of the first one are painful. For someone who has never, even when I was young, really loved bathroom humor, the first 5 minutes of that first movie are total overload of it. After that, it settles into a pretty decent rhythm. The second one, I haven't seen in its entirety, but I've seen bits and pieces of. It works pretty well. I went into this third one with a definite sense of dread. I mean, it's just taking the characters, it's taking them on a boat. Like, that's it. That's the worst kind of, contrived nonsense for a sequel. Like, why? Then I saw it. I'm like, it's pretty good. It's not great. I don't want to oversell this, but I am ultimately going to be pointing out a heck of a lot more good things than bad things. First off, if you're like me and you are iffy about the toilet humor, there's basically only one fart joke, and it's kind of cute. So there's that. I will always love Genndy Tartakovsky's, the director's, sense of physicality, because the man very much makes cartoons. And I know that's like, well, not all animation is cartoons, at least the way that he sort of does them, because he harkens back to an older style, an older Looney Tunes, early Disney, Max Fleischer kind of style, with characters with really bendy bodies, and the head will lock in place, but the body will do laps around while the neck stretches and does all this weird stuff. And it's difficult to do right. And he does it very well, and I think it's because he understands to not bombard with the high energy non-stop. He knows when to slow down, he knows when to take a quieter moment, he knows how to pace it so it's not just an assault of high energy and noise and it feeling like ADD the movie. It's not. It feels like we get the appropriate breathers at the appropriate time. And the man's got a great sense of comic timing. And it's actually quite impressive how well he's able to execute these movies and these concepts and these ideas. And it does have a very predictable story. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but it's kind of hard to spoil. But I say that as an adult. I suspect to the target audience, most kids will not figure the entire plot out within the first 10 minutes, which I did. But again, it's not a movie aimed at me. And that's the thing, like most of the things that I would normally have criticized a film like this for, I don't feel are fair criticisms of this film. And it's very rare for me to say that. Like, I don't like to give passes for things just because they're a genre that isn't held to the same high standard. But like I said, the man makes cartoons. He's not making Pixar films, Disney films. He's not doing any of those kinds of things. What this director makes is a cartoon, and you need to judge it more by the measure of like comparing it to something like Looney Tunes shorts, as opposed to your standard feature-length animation of today that is more realistic, that just does almost none of what this film does, not when you're dealing in live action. Like, for one thing, and you especially don't see this very often in CGI animated films, physics go out the window. I mean, that's often one of the big things with CGI 3D animation, is that you have to get the physics to behave themselves. And this thing has no use for real world physics. To heck with it. And, things that I would normally criticize, like the fact that there is a decent core story, but all the ancillary characters are just there because they've been there in the past and they are given almost nothing to do except show up and kill a bit of time every now and then. Normally I'd criticize a film for that, but I watch this and I go, well, the core story wasn't going to fill 90 minutes, and we can get just little snippets of these other characters, and they are in the same high energy vein, little jokes that the rest of the film is, and because that's what this film does, it works. And the voice cast has always been solid on this, and I say this as somebody who does not like Adam Sandler and has never liked Adam Sandler, but it helps a lot when I'm not looking at his face but instead just hearing his voice come out of a character who is really well animated and really lively and works very well. And same with the rest of the cast. And you know, there are some that you can say, because say for instance Mel Brooks returns as Dracula's father, and you could say that, you know, he's wasted, he has almost nothing to do, but like I said, most of the supporting cast doesn't have much to do except to get one-off jokes here and there. Really the only ones who get substantive stories is Dracula, his daughter Mavis, and then a new character who I don't want to really talk about or mention because again they kind of qualifies as spoilers insofar as that this film can be spoiled. But you know, that's your core story, and everything else is just moments to break from that, which it needs. And yeah, it's a solid 3 out of 5 star, you know, 6 out of 10 kind of movie. Nothing really wrong with it. Kind of breezy, kind of fun, disposable, but has some good moments. My daughter liked it a lot, and that's the other thing. I think this will play really well to the target audience. You know, I'm thinking about, I gave this like a number score and a star rating. Don't get used to that. That's not going to be standard. Like, because I don't have like a firm thing like that, like even in my head. So I kind of wish I hadn't done that. But I'm probably too lazy to cut it out. So what are you gonna do? I could cut it out, but I won't because I'm lazy. So it works for the age group, but even, you know, speaking as a parent, it didn't hurt. I liked it a heck of a lot better than, say, Despicable Me 3, which just felt like it was absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel. This actually feels like about as organic a progression of the story for these characters was going to be, because it could very easily run into what I consider to be the Shrek or the Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers franchise problems, which is that because the heart of the first 1 or 2 films is the tension between characters who are meant to come to terms with each other by the end of it, they keep having contrived reasons to set that back to zero for later films. And usually by the third one, it's really painful and really contrived. And that's not as much the case here, even though we're still focusing quite a bit on things that are causing tension between Dracula and his daughter Mavis. At the same time, they're finding scenarios that don't feel as contrived as these things usually do. It's a little contrived, but it's not, it doesn't feel as regressive, it doesn't feel as retrograde as these kinds of moves do. And that's just this, admittedly, probably just made because there's still money potential in the name, and it's made to cash in on whatever goodwill is left. It's better than it needed to be for what it is, for what it was designed to be, and I can admire it for that, even while acknowledging that this is no great work, and I do not expect this to show up again when I do my top 10 at the end of the year. But it's good, it's fun, solid. So, Hotel Transylvania 3, have you seen it? What did you think about it? If you haven't seen it, what are your thoughts on any of the films in the Hotel Transylvania series? So whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all that stuff to do that everybody on YouTube does. I do have a Patreon page, links for that and all the other stuff that we all do. It's all down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.